understand that these rare earth minerals, a lot of those are used for military purposes. A lot of those are used for AI and other technologies. Uh, but without the rare earths, there are so many things that cannot be done without the rare earths. So, China basically has wrapped that market up. They control what, roughly 90% of the rare earths worldwide. So, I mean, they can blackmail the world.
China is setting up gold vaults in other nations that are trading partners to store gold close to those countries' homes in order to net settle their bilateral trade. So, most of those countries, Saudi Arabia, India, they don't want to store their gold in China. They want to store it in their own countries. So they're setting up this vault system in their own countries to store the gold so that they can net settle all of their trades, and they can keep an eye on their own gold. This is obviously going to circumvent the need for US dollars in all those transactions, which has been the main go-between in the transactions, as well as net settling in treasuries. What do you see as being the impact here? Are we going to see higher inflation back here in the States? What do you see as being the impact of this?
Well, I think the key is in your question, I didn't hear New York or London. And the reason being, the rest of the world understands that it's a fractional reserve system, and they don't want to store in New York. They don't want to store in London. They don't trust the West. I mean, ultimately, when trust breaks, what do you get? You get a currency. And also sovereign treasuries that go lower in value because confidence is lessening. And that on its own is inflationary.
Okay, so that's headed our way. All right, so each major currency financial system crisis of the last 100 years, the 1933 gold confiscation during the Great Depression, the President Nixon closure in 1971 of the gold window, they were followed essentially by a gold revaluation. Is a similar moment upon us again right now?
I think yes, but this is the end of it's the end of this system. It's the end of fractional reserve. It's the end of the U.S. has a credit card with an unlimited balance on it. It's the end of all that. If you go back to 1933, when the gold was confiscated, and then shortly thereafter, they revalued gold up 70+% from $20.67 to $35. That actually, it reflated the system, if you will. When I say reflated the system, it made the collateral itself worth more so that there could be lending, that there was room for lending. When Nixon went off the gold standard, the gall was taking $35, sending it to the U.S. and saying, send us an ounce of gold. There was inflation already embedded in the system, and investors knew that, and that's why they wanted gold rather than dollars, because a dollar has long-term only one trajectory, and that's downward, because it's freely printed. It's printed by man, as opposed to gold, which is created by God and has an absolute limited supply. I mean, you have to use capital, labor, and equipment to create a 1 ounce round or a bar or whatever. Gold is only...
And energy.
And energy. Gold is only proof positive that those were used to create that 1 ounce round or bar or whatever what have you. How difficult is it to create $1 trillion? I mean, just go back to 2008. You remember the TARP fight over $700 billion? People were freaking out. Well, $700 billion is, it's nothing today. But what my point being, you can create trillions of dollars for nothing. You cannot create trillions of anything in gold terms. You can't create it. You got to work for it.
Yeah, no, your point is well taken. So, Bill, China has been increasingly cornering the global market on critical minerals and natural resources for the better part of the last 15 years. Now the U.S. seems to finally be getting serious about critical minerals and metals and the mining needed to go get them, but they're playing catch up. We saw this as soon as, Trump came into office with the rhetoric on Canada, Greenland, and I believe around Venezuela. What's your perspective on this natural resource war that's unfolding and playing out before our very eyes today?
I think it's too late for the U.S. at this point. I mean, we were asleep at the wheel for too long. And I mean, understand that these rare earth minerals, a lot of those are used for military purposes. A lot of those are used for AI and other technologies. But without the rare earths, there are so many things that cannot be done without the rare earths. So, China basically has wrapped that market up. They control roughly 90% of the rare earths worldwide. So, I mean, they can blackmail the world.
Well, I think they essentially did that during the tariff tantrum time period. We started ratcheting things up and they came back and said, we're going to hold back rare earths, and exactly. The United States caved fairly quickly.
Yep. So,
I mean, the world is beholden, right? Unless the West gets their critical minerals somehow. So do you think what's more likely? Are we likely to see mining open up to levels we haven't seen in multiple generations, and they're just finding stuff everywhere and digging it up out of the ground and processing it and getting after it, or war? Which one is more likely?
War is definitely more likely. The best case scenario is that trade opens up, mining. They're drilling, finding metal, mining it. The red tape gets lessened greatly. I mean, that's the best case scenario. History says it's going to be a war,
and that's what you're leaning in that direction, probability wise.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Let's move over to the mining stocks here.
That's a high probability.
It's a high.
Yeah, it's not a 50.
Is it a high probability during? Okay, is it a high probability during the Trump term, or in the next presidential term, or thereafter?
Well, with the way Trump is throwing rhetoric around, it's probably just as high, if not higher, with Trump as president than someone else as president.
Okay, so it's likely it could happen here.
His rhetoric, it does play to the MAGA base, but it doesn't play to foreigners.